All right, buddy.
Hey,
How are
man.
we looking?
Hey, looking good. Looking good. Oh,
I don't think
you can't stretch. You can't stretch that
Hold
far.
on.
There it is. Hey, we're in the same living room.
Yes, we are. To the thousands of people that watch us on Reels and the tens of people that watch us on YouTube, welcome.
Welcome to my home. Welcome to my living room. We are here together. We decided, since we saw the movie we're going to talk about today together, the first time we've seen a movie together in, years
Yeah.
and years.
Years and years.
So we saw the movie together, thought, let's podcast together. First time.
Yeah, we're here. We're together.
We
We're
got
live.
a roaring fire behind us. I'm wearing my my Be Cool, Don't Act Cool shirt in honor of our buddy Walt Blau.
Yeah, man. He loves us. We love him.
He is Be Raw podcast.
Yeah,
it's
he's
different
good
from us, but he's the man. He's such a great encourager.
Yeah, I agree. He's pretty great.
So what are we talking about, Jay? Why are we here this auspicious occasion together?
We are here to celebrate missions that are impossible.
Hey, impossible missions.
For this impossible missions, we are on the is it the 8th movie?
This is the 8th Mission Impossible film
of
yes.
Mission Impossible Final Reckoning. Is it the Final Reckoning?
The Final Reckoning. It's not just Final Reckoning.
Yeah,
it's
it is the final reckoning.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what we're talking about tonight. We're excited. We're excited that we got to watch this together. We're excited to be in the room together. And so, man, I say we just dive right in.
All right. You're running the show today. You got the list?
I got the list. So let's talk a little bit about the plot of Mission Impossible.
All right. You want to give us like a little quick synopsis?
Quick synopsis. So Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, picks up right where the previous film left off, which was Dead Reckoning. It's not The Dead Reckoning, just Dead Reckoning. And at the close of that film, Tom Cruise and his team of Mission Impossibilists, I don't know what you call them, IMF agents.
IMF agents.
Yes. Yeah. They steal a key. They get this key. They spent the whole movie looking for it. They get this key, which they know unlocks a server room, basically inside a submarine.
Yeah.
That has the source code for an AI that is threatening to take over the world, called the Entity. So the AI is the big bad. The Entity is the big bad in this film.
Everybody tracking so far? Makes perfect sense.
Makes perfect sense.
Plain as mud.
So they've got this key. And the film starts with Tom Cruise. I believe the title said 4 months later. So he's had this key's kind of in hiding for 4 months. His hair is longer, so time has passed.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
that's funny.
That's why they did it. That's why his hair was a little longer.
Okay.
Time has passed, and he gets a message on VHS. So this entity has infiltrated all forms of cyberspace.
This is quite the synopsis.
Yeah. Well, we got to get this thing rolling. Yeah. So it's infiltrated all types of cyberspace. And so they can't use anything digital. They got to go straight analog. They got to go back to what I'm comfortable with, what I enjoy. And so he's got a VHS tape from the president saying, Ethan, you need to come in.
Yeah.
You need to turn yourself in.
Yeah.
And that's basically where the movie starts. Yeah. So it's the Entity. Ethan's got the key. Mm-hmm. It unlocks the source code.
It unlocks something.
In a submarine.
Yes.
And that's basically it. That's where the movie begins.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And they're going to have a mission that is effectively
impossible. It can't be done. So that's the setup. So what I thought we'd do is talk a little bit about just the franchise of Mission Impossible. Talk a little bit about its star, the star of Mission Impossible, the ubiquitous Tom Cruise. And I think what I'd really be curious about, Jay, is what's your relationship to Tom Cruise? Like, when do you remember him like first on your radar? Did you think he was cool? Was he one of your favorites? What's your what's your relationship to Tom Cruise?
I think anyone our age, one of the first, I want to call them romance scenes that I think we've ever experienced on a theater would be Top Gun.
Yes.
Taking our breath away.
Yes.
And so like that, by far for me, that's kind of where I remember him. I mean, he did Legend, he did other things, but I think I was too young for all that. And the only thing I really my first memory is Top Gun.
Yeah.
For
sure.
there's enough naughty things in there too, where, you know, the plane's upside down and they're saying hello.
Right.
And then that romantic scene, like at whatever age I was when did that come out?
1986.
So in 86, I'm like 9 years old.
Yeah.
And so you're right around 8. So
8,
we're just now starting to kind of promote into the big kid movies, you know, and that's my first memory of Tom. What about you?
I'm just remembering now, my cousin, we were actually in Hawaii. My cousin lived in Hawaii. Her dad was in the Navy, and we were watching Top Gun.
Yeah.
You know, naval movie. We're on a naval air base,
Yeah.
you know, in a naval housing. And I remember my cousin, who's 2 years older than me, she was like, there's one scene that we're going to have to fast forward through. my uncle was a chaplain in the Navy. You know, we're going to have to fast forward through this scene. It's how your parents make a baby. She probably doesn't even remember that, but
that's fantastic.
That's how it was described to me.
Yeah, that is fantastic.
I was like, what?
So 2 shadows are like together? Is that what makes a baby? To the shadows?
Oh, it's so funny.
Well, that's good.
So yeah, that movie, Top Gun, I mean, that was my favorite movie, barring Star Wars, you know, for a long time. You know, my best friend Jason Borges, he was Maverick, I was Goose, and we would swing on the swings at the elementary school, and we would jump out, right? And that was sort of like us parachuting out of the plane, and I would fake like I was dead, and you know, because Goose died in the movie.
Yeah.
Right? He'd come over, Goose, no man, you know. Yeah. That's how we played Top Gun in Kenner, Louisiana, in 1988 or whenever
you know, it was. Beyond that, I would say every couple years, Tom Cruise made another giant film,
massive, yeah.
And it wasn't until the couch jumping incident that there was even like whiffs of concern about all that.
Yeah. Up until that was 2005. So up until then, and even beyond, but prior to, I would say he probably had the best batting average of any actor, you know, when you think about it, in terms of just great movies, you know, unbelievable movies, one after the other. And they might not have been your cup of tea, you know, but especially when he got in the 90s, because you know, the 80s was kind of the popcorn stuff. He did Cocktail, he did Days of Thunder, he did you know, Top Gun, obviously we already talked about that. I'm trying to think of his Cocktail was the one I was thinking of, but Rain Man, that was it. Rain Man was like, you know, was nominated for the Academy, or it may have won Best Picture that year.
Was Far and Away, was that him and Nicole Kidman? Was that the name of that?
That was early 90s. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, you go into the early 90s though, and then he's just box office gold. I think he had, you know, this streak of.
It's interesting to think about the 80s and 90s that way, because you've got Arnold, you've got Sylvester, you got Tom Cruise, you got Will Smith, who kind of shows up on the scene.
Yeah.
And like they're just dropping hit. And then Harrison Ford's in the mix as well.
Right.
So like hit after hit after hit after hit.
Yeah.
So for us growing up, the movie star is kind of what wins the show. Like today, I don't know that that's necessarily the case. You've got your Chalamets, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know if Chalamet sells out places just because it's him. Like he seems to be picking good vehicles. But I mean, is there a movie star right now that's not Tom Cruise that you go see a movie just because it's Tom Cruise?
Maybe Leo. Maybe.
I feel like he's so niche in the choices he makes. He's not selling popcorn.
Yeah. He's in a movie like once every 5 years.
Yeah. And it's something Scorsese did, or it's something, you know.
But he's still sort of, when you think about movie star, it's somebody who's going to open a film, somebody who you're going to go see it because his name is on, or her name is on the top line of the, you know, the marquee. But you also think about like the mystique, you know? And so Tom Cruise still has that. Leo has that mystique.
You know, it's interesting you say mystique, because, you know, you think about the difference between Michael Jordan and LeBron James. Michael Jordan had that mystique, and part of it has to do with the fact that we only got to know about Michael Jordan the way he wanted us to know.
What he wanted us to know.
There was no, you know, I just watched the HBO Max documentary on Pee Wee Herman. Pee Wee is himself. And it's like 3 hours, and it's amazing because we only got to, I mean, Pee Wee Herman basically decided we were only going to know him as Pee Wee Herman until it caught up with him. Right. And that just it can't happen anymore.
Yeah. But I mean, if you want to fast forward to today, Cruise has especially done that now. Like, we know nothing about him, and we know he's a Scientologist. We know that every now and then, he's photographed with, one of his co-stars. Oh, they may be dating, like, I think he's with Ana de Armas now. That's the rumor, is that he's dating Ana de Armas now.
I think he's actually Anna's grandfather.
Oh. I mean, maybe old enough, definitely to be the father. I don't know, but but we don't know anything about him. Like, we don't know like what he does. And I have a theory. About him. I think he's hard of hearing. All right. So two things give me this premonition. All right. Number one, watch the clip of him playing the Guess What's Behind Me game with Jimmy Fallon. Either he's not paying attention or he doesn't get the rules, because it takes a good halfway through the game before he ever figures out what he's supposed to be doing. All right. And then secondly, I found a red carpet clip of someone showing him a video from Emilio Estevez congratulating him, because Emilio Estevez was in the first Mission Impossible film. He was like the first guy, the first big star, which it kind of became a thing in some of the Mission Impossible
movies.
Elevator
scene, right?
Yeah. Like, for the biggest star other than Tom Cruise to die in the first, 20 minutes of the movie.
That was a thing for
several of the top guys.
And I mean,
Mission Impossible.
Spoil or anything, but it kind of happens again.
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. We'll get there. Hold your horses. But what I'm saying is, he's watching this video and he's like, "Hey, Emilio, how are you?" And it's a recorded message, and it's kind of embarrassing. It's a little bit like, so I think he's hard of hearing. I think he's been on too many airplanes that his eardrums have been bursted or whatever. He can't hear real well. He's been too far plunged down into the depths of the ocean or whatever that he can't hear anymore. So that's just a theory. I'm not reporting news here. I'm just hypothesizing.
I mean, I think we can put that on reels for sure. Send it out there to the world.
No, but the bottom line is, and to this day, couch jumping beyond, I love Tom Cruise. I love him. I mean, I love Top Gun Maverick, as well documented in our podcast.
Yeah.
I loved the Mission Impossible franchise. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Sort of our relationship to that franchise. I love him. I mean, I know he's probably crazy, maybe certifiable, maybe deaf, but I love him. He's a legend. He's probably, one of the last guys, other than maybe still Harrison Ford, that I have season tickets to. When a Tom Cruise movie comes out, I'm going to go see it.
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure that I have seen that movie.
Yeah.
And by and large, I want to see it on a big screen because it's worth it.
Yeah. I want it on the IMAX. I want to see whatever's going to happen. Yeah, that's good.
Well, let's do it then. Let's move toward talking about the Mission Impossible movies. Obviously this is the 8th film in this franchise.
So the first one was literally almost 3 decades ago.
Yeah. 1996. Is when Mission Impossible 1 came out.
That's wild.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And we'll talk about 96 in a second too. Man, 1996, what a time to be alive. But Mission Impossible, what's your relationship to it? What did you, are these movies that you like, that you've enjoyed? Were you looking forward to this movie because you're a fan of the franchise, or is it just, hey man, it's a movie in the zeitgeist that we need to talk about on the podcast? What's your relationship to the franchise?
So for me, I used to watch the old, the UFH channels, channel 17, channel 30, those ones that aren't 245 when you're growing up. I used to watch the old black and white Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
So I loved the idea of a message showing up from somebody secretly, you listening to the message. And it's like, if your mission, if you choose to accept it, and then the message blowing up, or the message having self-destructing, like that is just, I thought that was the coolest when I was young, and the whole spycraft, it's the American James Bond. James Bond had all the cool gadgets. Mission Impossible kind of tended that way. And so, I was really excited when the first one came out with Tom Cruise, that it was kind of coming back, and it was really a cultural phenomenon in a lot of ways. Everybody went and saw it. The masks that keep showing up in it became a thing where everybody wanted to know, like, culturally speaking, in 1996, it was like, are you wearing a mask or not? Like that was a thing. Like, are you really you? Could you be someone else? And so loved that one. Considered myself a film auteur or whatever. And John Woo with the second one, I thought that was such an amazing choice. John Woo was a big deal, right? That particular time, like he had made something that was an Oscar hit that I didn't see.
Was he Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon?
Maybe there was something else though that I thought made him famous.
I can't remember. Yeah,
like some kind of weird art film that did really well, and so his next thing was Mission Impossible, and like it was shot really cool. Like everything was kind of symbolic, and it's like a Michael Bay film or a Jerry Bruckheimer, but it wasn't quite. So it was like a little bit more artistic take on it. And they were just
slow-mo doves flying.
And Tom did have long hair. We hadn't really seen that version of him. And so I was great with that. I was great with the third one. Somewhere around the fourth one, I started to kind of, it wasn't, when was JJ's?
JJ's was the third one.
So I really liked the third one. And then he didn't do the fourth one. When did Christopher McQuarrie start showing up? Was he 5?
So the fourth one was Brad Bird, who directed
Iron Giant
and The Incredibles.
Yeah.
And then McQuarrie did 5, which was Rogue Nation, and he's done them since. So 5, 6, 7, 8. So 4. This is his 4th Mission Impossible film.
Somewhere along the lines, I lost a little steam. I thought JJ's was good. I liked what JJ did. I didn't really care for the Brad Bird one too much. I don't remember much about it, but it kind of got to a point where I was just like, okay, I get it. Yeah. And I've got it, and I don't really need it. Right. So, like, I would say even for Dead Reckoning, it was I didn't see it in the theater. Like, I
had to twist your arm.
Yeah, you had to make me see it, and so I saw it, and it was good. I enjoyed it. I remember watching it, and enjoying it. So for this one, I wanted to see how they would kind of wrap it up, but it hasn't. Like, this has been on your calendar.
Oh man, yeah.
And so for me, it's not that. That's not where I'm at.
See, I'm kind of the opposite. I mean, I love the first one. I mean, it was huge for me. The second one, I kind of lost some steam. The third one, I kind of lost steam. But I was the opposite. When the fourth one hit, I was like, oh man, this is much better. And then the fifth one, and then the sixth one, they just kept getting better, I thought, with each successive film. And so I got reinvigorated to the point where, like, right now, I mean, I would say it's Star Wars, it's Marvel, it's Mission Impossible. Those are my top 3, like, franchises, even over, like, Lord of the Rings or any of the DC, movies. Because, and I thought about this. I was like, if given a choice, if there's a Mission Impossible movie you could watch, any of them, versus there's any DC movie or one of the Lord of the Rings movies, like, I'm going Mission Impossible, because of what they are. They're entertaining. They're fun. They're funny. They've got a subtle humor, all of them, because you got people like Simon Pegg. You got people like, I'm trying to think some of the other, like, comedic action. Paul Patton's in one of them who, kind of had some snark, a little bit of bite. So it was just fun. It was a fun franchise of films. So
I think they did some things well too.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Like, there's some things that they did to update it versus James Bond, if that's the comparison. Like, women weren't so much a damsel in distress in towards the 3rd through 8th. Like, they were not like, there were big action pieces to it that were females. And so like
equals on the team. Yeah.
And so I thought that was a great modern take in that. And I think James Bond learned a little bit from that, actually.
Yeah. I have not to go toward the James Bond, but I haven't seen any of them since the very first Casino Royale. I have not seen any of them, like Skyfall, like Quantum of Solace, like, whatever the most recent one was. None of them.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know why. They just didn't really call to me. I enjoyed it. It's funny because I enjoyed Casino Royale.
I think this lines up with your hatred for British people. It's starting to make more sense now, actually.
That's where my people are, man.
Yeah, me too.
Wiltshire that's where the crop circles are.
No, yeah. I mean, look at us. Yeah, I think they know, Kyle.
We're we came over on the Mayflower. We were there. So, I mean, I've loved Mission Impossible. I've loved Mission Impossible films since 1996. But, it did kind of take that reinvigoration of, Part 4, McQuarrie getting a hold of the franchise, and all that he did to kind of take it to the next level.
I know he did Top Gun Maverick. Before that,
he didn't do Top Gun Maverick.
Really?
Yeah, I think he did.
Did he do the Harry Potters? Where did he come from?
I think he did either Edge of Tomorrow or Oblivion. He did one of Tom Cruise's sci-fi kind of action flicks. Gotta pull up the IMDb.
Yeah, we're gonna take a look.
See what McQuarrie did. While you're doing that, one thing that I do want to mention about the franchise is it became known. Each film became known for the stunt. That was part of the marketing. That was part of the the commercials. It was basically like what's Tom Cruise going to do now? What amazing stunt is he going to pull off?
So he did do Top Gun Maverick.
McQuarrie did Top Gun Maverick. I thought it was Joseph Kosinski. Joseph Kosinski directed Top Gun Maverick. McQuarrie probably produced it.
Let's just take a look. Maybe you're right. You're right. Kosinski directed it. Okay.
But McQuarrie is like
he's
producing partner in a lot of ways now.
Okay.
I don't remember which. I believe it was Oblivion. The more I'm thinking about it, is when he and Cruise first connected, and it seems like they really hit it off. Like they found a kinship, in like the way they want to make films and the style. But back to the stunts. Let's see.
So he did Jack Reacher in 2012, and that's where they met.
That was the first. Okay.
And then he went on, and all he's done since then has been Mission Impossible. As far as directing, has been the Mission Impossibles. Like since 2015, the last 10 years of his life have been this story.
Man. But he is a writer as well. I think he wrote. Play back up.
He wrote The Usual Suspects.
The Usual Suspects. That's what it was. Yeah. I know he wrote something that's kind of got like a real esteemed film, Usual Suspects. But I was talking about the stunts. All right. So the first one was the vault break-in where he's suspended from the air. Mm-hmm. He's like hanging upside down. A huge part of the marketing, and that was cool in '96. Like, man, did you see?
I think it's cool today.
It's
like,
still cool, yeah. But compared to the things that he has ended up doing.
Yeah.
The second one, he took it up a notch because he's doing some kind of like vertical hang on the mountains as he's climbing.
Yeah. What was the third one?
The third one, I don't believe had I think the one thing that was in the marketing, he did some kind of explosion where he was like pushed into a car.
Yeah.
That he actually did.
Yeah.
But it wasn't some type of like, hanging off an airplane stunt.
Yeah. The big explosion. Yeah.
So the fourth one was when he climbed the
outside of the tower.
Khalifa, I think is what it's called, the tallest.
The Wiz Khalifa?
Wiz Khalifa, yeah. It's Burj. I think it's Burj Khalifa.
Yeah, that's Wiz Khalifa's rapper.
Rapper, okay, yeah.
You're looking at cameras right now. I love it.
Okay. He climbed that building.
Okay.
The fifth one was he hung to the side of the big jumbo jet as it took off. The sixth one he did, it was all kind of skydiving. Like he did like a jump out of the air into over the Paris skyline or something. The seventh.
Well, hold on. Was the sixth one the one where he broke his foot?
I believe it was. Yeah.
That was the one that got all kinds of that jump from one building to another, and like his foot fell over and like he's just like still running with his foot hanging.
that was huge. Yeah, that was a big one as well. The seventh one was the motorcycle jump off the mountain.
Yeah.
Where he jumped off. And then this most recent one.
Water gun fight. That was crazy. Paintball.
I'm sure we'll talk about the stunts when we get to the actual Dead Reckoning.
Yeah.
But that was a big part of it. The stunts was a huge part of getting people into the theater. And I think that's what he's all about now, is like he loves the craft of filmmaking and he just wants people to go see movies. So he's like, what can I do that no one's ever seen before? What can I do that'll make people want to come to a theater? And I just wish that he hadn't released his movie the same weekend as Lilo and Stitch. Tom, what are you thinking, man?
Dude, I think that movie's killing, right?
It's done big business. Yeah. Mission Impossible hadn't been bad. But
and if you'll remember when we talked about things that we wanted to cover, Lilo and Stitch was one of the ones I wanted to cover.
I want to see it too. Yeah. I'm trying to get my daughter to go see it with me.
Yeah,
she's a little too young.
Yeah, I don't need to go by myself. I don't think that's a good look.
We'll go that one together. Two dudes. We'll look at the aliens. Those two alien dudes.
Uncle Jay will come show up and we'll go to the film. I could probably talk my girls into that.
Oh, probably.
All right, back to Tom.
Yeah, no. So, anyways, I just think I love the franchise. Super excited about this movie. So excited to see it. Had a lot of anticipation. I know I kind of dragged you to it, but in terms of like I'm excited about it. Our interest levels are a little bit different. So I'll be really excited because we have not talked about this at all.
This was the first time ever we've talked about nothing related to the movie.
Yeah.
Like when the movie was over, it was 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, I got an hour drive.
Yeah.
I got to go. And I just got up and left.
Yeah. And I was like, okay. And my sons who were with me were like, do they have a end credit scene like on Marvel? I was like, I don't think so. We're not even going to wait to find out. Let's get out of here. But so let's talk about 1996.
Okay.
1996 is when the very first Tom Cruise Mission Impossible movie came out.
You know, some of this is starting to click a little bit for me. Like just thinking about even like who wrote the theme song to Mission Impossible in 1996.
Well,
like some of this is starting to click a little bit.
Why it all matters. Jay, who did recreate the theme music for the original Mission Impossible film in 1996?
It was the two least known U2 members, correct?
It was the rhythm section, yes.
It was Larry Mullen and
Adam Clayton.
Adam Clayton, that's right.
So that was actually, I was thinking about maybe doing like a little trivia, the Tom Cruise Mission Impossible trivia. That was one of the questions I was going to ask.
Okay.
It was Adam Clayton and Larry Mullen Jr. recreated.
And like made it awesome.
It was cool, yeah.
Yeah.
It was kind of a dance, a dance beat.
Boom, boom,
yeah. The same, basic song. Made it all in 1996. Yeah.
That was good.
but
boom, 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 boom.
So 1996 was the year that I graduated high school.
Oh, okay.
Big year for me.
Yeah.
This movie came out. I looked it up, and this date plays a role in the movie. I don't know if we'll talk about this.
May 22nd.
May 22nd, 1996 is the date that the movie came out. And I don't know if I saw it on May 22nd, but it was May 23rd or May 24th. It wasn't long after that movie came out that I was in the theater and saw it. So that movie, meant a lot to me because of where I was in life. I was graduating high school. I saw more movies that summer than probably any summer of my life. And I looked this up because I started thinking about it, and I was like, I think that was a big year. I think that was a big year for movies. Let me just rattle off some of these movies. And if you have thoughts about them, just speak. Okay. The number one film of that summer, it may have been for the whole year, but the number one film of that summer, I'm sure you saw it in the theater, Independence Day.
Will Smith. Oh yeah.
That was huge. I saw that one in the theater.
Yeah.
Big one. Number two, recently had a sequel, came out last year. Natural disaster movie. It's kind of
was it a sequel?
Sort of.
Okay, Twister,
the original Twister, which is far superior than the one that came out last year. That came out like 2 weeks before.
Yeah.
Mission Impossible.
Was that the same summer as like Volcano and like the two Volcano movies in the same summer?
I think those came later on as a result, but it's sort of like Twister, I think, kind of reignited the natural disaster.
Was that the summer of the asteroid?
No, that was 98.
Okay.
98 was Deep Impact and don't want to fall asleep.
Don't want to. Oh, my eyes, I miss you, baby.
Armageddon, that was it. I couldn't come up with the title. All right. Number 3 that came out like box office was Mission Impossible. Number 4, The Rock. Welcome to The Rock.
Yeah, that is a movie that did not hold up at all.
No, I hadn't seen it in ages. It's not good.
Most Nick Cage's action movies in the 90s that we loved, just leave them there. Just leave them right there.
Don't revisit. No. I saw that one in the theater.
Especially Con Air. Oh my goodness. Don't go. Don't do it.
I am, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 for 4 at this point for having seen these in the theater. Number 5.
Don't you think some of that has to do with the fact that you're just like 18 though and you got nothing to do?
Yeah. Okay. And I had a slight bit of disposable income.
Yeah.
Had a car I could go.
Yeah.
What
was your job? What was your job that summer?
I'd go to my grandparents' house and work, and they'd give me money.
That was the disposable income.
That was disposable income.
Okay.
But when you had $100 in 1996, that would last you weeks and weeks and weeks because everything was so stinking cheap.
Yeah.
I meant to look this up. I wanted to see what the cost of a movie was in 1996.
It was like $5 or $6.
Yeah. I think
because there was a $1.99 theater.
Yeah.
And then I want to say it was between less than 10.
I think a matinee was like 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was way less than 10. Yeah. It was probably 5 or 6.
Yeah.
To see a night movie. What's a night movie called? A day's a matinee. What's a night movie?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
You go see a movie after the sun
just
goes
like a movie.
a movie.
No, I went to several movies at the Old Hickory $1.50.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I didn't go Old Hickory. We had Apple Tree in Memphis.
Yeah.
I saw a lot. I saw Forrest Gump twice there. I remember that. All right. Oh, I lost my. Here we go. Number 5. You're gonna love it. Hercules.
The Disney? Oh no. Yeah. Nutty
Professor.
Yeah.
It was the number 5 movie of that summer.
My little baby got gas. Yeah, I love that film.
What did I call my name? I called your name. Your name. All right.
I don't know why Eddie Murphy doesn't do that in every film.
I mean,
I'd go see him all the time.
It is a shock that he hasn't pulled that back out. Like,
did you see him on the 50th, the SNL 50?
Yeah.
Like his 2 skits?
I don't do anything halfway.
That was just so
Half
great.
his hair.
Yeah, it was so great. Everything about it was great. His Tracy Morgan impersonation.
Oh,
perfect.
Spot on. It was good. It was really good. Number 6, when things started to tail off for Arnold a little bit. Eraser.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw that one in the theater.
Yeah.
I didn't see Nutty Professor in the theater, but I saw Eraser in the theater. Number 7, Phenomenon. Remember when John Travolta was still a phenomenon? Yeah, number 7. Number 8, The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Okay.
Disney. Speaking of Disney. Number 9. Now, imagine she's white.
A Time to Kill.
Time to Kill.
With Matthew McConaughey.
Matthew McConaughey, man. Number 10. I know you saw this one in the theater. You had to have. The Cable Guy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Jim Carrey's weirdest, possibly worst film. I don't know, not his worst film.
It's one of those that's like come back around. They're like, no, it's actually good.
Yeah, well, Ben Stiller made it, right?
Yeah,
I think it's a Ben Stiller film, and so like I don't think Ben Stiller makes anything bad. It just wasn't what everybody expected.
Right. He wasn't slapstick, mask.
It might be one of the ones I quote a little bit more than all the Jim Carrey films.
Oh yeah.
Oh Billy.
Oh Billy. That's a horrific movie. If you've ever seen the movie of that, what's that? The Midnight Express, I think is what the name of that movie.
I don't even know. I didn't know that was from something.
It's from a movie, yeah.
Okay.
It's about a guy who gets thrown in some like a Turkish prison or something because he's smuggling weed out of the country.
Okay.
And it's a horrific, like he's trapped in prison and there's a prison break. I've seen it. It's
so I think that says we're 32 minutes in and we haven't even made it to the film.
I know. Hey, this is great. I'm just going to rattle off a few of these just because how great it was to be in 1996. Yeah. All right. Courage Under Fire, Dragonheart, Jack, Tin Cup, Striptease, Eddie, Matilda, Spy Hard, Harriet the Spy, Truth About Cats and Dogs, Kingpin, The Craft, Escape from LA, Chain Reaction, Multiplicity. Like, we know all those movies. We've heard of all those movies. They may not all be great, but like, we hear of like 2 movies that come out now.
Let me see if I can give me that list real quick. Let me see if I can run one thing about each film or one character.
You think? Okay.
Maybe, I don't know. There's some of those are
Courage Under Fire.
That's Meg Ryan.
And Matt Damon skinny.
Yeah. And it's a military thing, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Dragonheart.
Dragonheart is McConaughey, I think. No, Chris. No.
You're thinking of what was that? Rain of Fire. Came out much later.
What was Dragonheart?
Dragonheart was Dennis Quaid, and I think Sean Connery did the voice of the dragon. It was like a CGI dragon. I did see that in the theater.
Yeah, I did too.
It was not great.
Yeah, I was thinking Rain of Fire then.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Rain of Fire is pretty darn good. Yeah, Jack. You know Jack?
Is that Robin Williams?
Robin Williams. Yeah. He plays like a child or something.
Yeah, Simple Jack.
Yeah, Simple.
Which is one of my favorite Tom Cruise movies, by the way. Tropic Thunder. I watched a clip of him dancing at the MTV Awards with Jennifer Lopez as Lonnie Goldman or
whatever his name is. Yeah.
Fantastic. One of his top 5 roles for me is him being a movie exec and just being awful.
You know how the Academy feels about that. All right, let's see. Tin Cup.
Yeah, Kevin Costner.
Yeah,
that's a pretty
golf,
famous Kevin Costner
movie.
Keep swinging.
Yeah. Striptease. I mean,
next.
Give me more.
Yeah.
Eddie. Do you know Eddie?
No.
Basketball. That's the hint. Basketball. Whoopi Goldberg becomes the coach of the New York Knicks.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that. Whoopi Goldberg had a really interesting. She chose interestingly.
Yeah, she had a run.
Yeah.
So we get some children's movies here. Matilda.
Yeah.
Never saw it. Spy Hard. Remember Spy Hard?
Yeah.
Is that Eddie Murphy too?
No, I don't remember who it was though.
Yeah.
We're gonna just. we're really chasing a rabbit here, and this one is my fault.
You asked me.
I mean, 100% did, and I didn't do nearly as well as I thought I would.
No, you did pretty well.
Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah.
Which, by the way,
that Naked Gun trailer got a big laugh
from you.
A huge laugh from me. Yes, at the start of the Mission Impossible.
I mean,
anyway, so we don't have to talk about that. All I want to say is, can we go back to 1996?
Yeah, I would argue. I think 95 is probably better.
95 may be better, right? But just like those movies vary, your mileage may vary on how good they are, but like at least
it's a good run.
It's a good run, and that's just the summer.
Yeah, but I think a lot more of that had to do with your age than it did
for sure. But later on that year, I think we got Jerry Maguire later that year, the other Tom Cruise movie from that year. I think we got the Ransom with Mel Gibson. I think came later that year. So I mean,
Gary
Sinise and Mel Gibson. Yeah. So all right, dude. Well, let's do it. We've belabored this long enough. Let's do. Are you ready for a 30-second review?
Yeah, you go first.
You go first.
Yeah.
All right. So you get your.
This is kind of the first opportunity. We're kind of tipping our hand for this. This will be the first time we
a little bit. Yeah.
We talk about it a little bit.
Tip it pretty hard here. So you tell me when.
I got a stopwatch. You ready?
You count me down.
3, 2. This is the 30-second review of Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning.
Yeah,
3, 2, 1.
Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning is an uneven conclusion to the Mission Impossible franchise. It lacks a lot of the charm and a lot of the fun that a lot of the other Mission Impossible films have. The stunts are spectacular. The stunts are mind-blowing. It's fun. It's a fun movie to watch, but it drags in places. It connects things that it doesn't necessarily, I feel like, have to connect, but it does try to bring a conclusion to the whole franchise together in one final film. Dude, that was pretty good.
It was right at 29 seconds, 30 seconds.
I was pleased with that one. Okay, yeah. Dude, I'm so excited. Can I just predict? I think you hated it. You were looking at your watch a lot during that movie. So I looked over at you. No, you're left-handed. So
I'm genuinely concerned about what I'm about to say because I love you and we've been friends for a long time and I just don't know how this is going to go.
I'm excited. Let's bring it.
And this is like doing this live couldn't be more perfect. Okay.
All right. I'll count you down. I'll let you see it. All right. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning could be called a couple of things. It could be called it could be called MacGuffin Impossible, a lot of things that people hold in their hands and look at. It could be a movie about them just looking at each other the whole time. I mean, a lot of the stunts were cool. The movie was bad. I do not need everything to connect from every movie that was never really meant to connect to begin with. They tried so hard to make it work, and it just didn't.
29 seconds, man. We're getting good at this.
Yeah.
We're getting good at 30-second reviews.
I bet you practiced. Did you practice?
I didn't. I mean, I thought about what I was going to say.
Okay.
I wanted to hit uneven.
Yeah.
It was
uneven.
I wanted to hit stunts. I wanted to hit connected things that, maybe didn't necessarily.
Yeah. I thought about it a little bit, and my first one was going to be Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Good stunts, bad movie. The end. That's what I wanted to say.
Oh man, that'd be like a 5-second review.
I know.
Let's do that for a reel. All right, just do it again, okay? Jay Watson's 5-second review of Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning.
Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Good stunts, bad movie. The end.
Boom. All right, so from here on, spoiler town.
Yes.
We're going full on spoiler town. So if you've not seen Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning yet, and you wanna be spared of what's going to happen in this film, then you can stop now. You can come back to it after you've watched it. So you've been warned. Spoiler warning.
Spoiler warning. Spoiler. Boom.
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 Boom. All right. So I think we both have. I mean, I think your feelings are a little stronger about the film, but
I don't care if I ever see it ever again.
Yeah, I want to see it again because much like the Thunderbolts / the New Avengers that we last saw.
Yeah.
The second time I saw it, I enjoyed it so much more because I could just release the anticipation of what it's going to be. I know what it's going to be. Now I want to watch it for what it is. And I think if I watched, this movie a second time, I might have that experience, or it might make me even angrier. I think it possibly could. But let's start positive. Let's start with, what did you like about the movie?
My number one favorite thing was that they brought back the guy who was in the room when the first stunt happened.
Dunlow, yeah.
That was my favorite thing about the film. And not only that, he probably did one of the better jobs of the film.
And he kind of stole the show just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
And I think they let him.
Yeah. Yeah.
I enjoyed that. Mm-hmm. Simon Pegg, I thought did an admirable job in acting.
Yeah.
I felt empathy out of him, compassion. I felt him doing a lot of things with very little stuff to do.
Yeah. It was neat that a couple of times, Tom was like, you're the team leader now.
Yeah. That's it.
That's all you got.
Yeah. Wow. Now, the stunts were great. The fight scenes were pretty good. Like the stunts were great. A couple of fight scenes were really bad, but in general, like if you are into how did they do it, like the live action stunts, him rolling around on the airplane, was crazy to watch.
Looking like Lloyd Christmas.
Yeah, that was a very unintended consequence. Like him, like the hair blowing down.
You pumpkin pie haircutted freak.
Yeah, I kept expecting hhim to have like a chipped tooth and being like, you want to hear the most annoying sound? Like I just, that's what I was. I mean, I couldn't help it. And not only that, but his roots were showing.
You could see his roots. You could. Yeah, you really could. I noticed that too. I thought the exact same thing. I was like, oh man, that's rather unfortunate. Blowing of the wind, because his face is all distorted.
Yeah,
his hair
it was rough. Like he. Now I saw him on Jimmy Fallon doing a lip sync battle, doing the Weeknd song, and he looked quite great.
I think that was several years ago. Okay. I can't feel my face when I'm with you.
Well, his hair was long though.
Yeah. No, I think that was several years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But I mean, so kind of like our discussion of, again, the Thunderbolts, how the trailer kind of spoiled some stuff. The trailer spoiled the airplane stunt at the end for me, because if you watch the trailer closely, you see sometimes he's in a red plane, and then you see another time he's in a yellow plane. And so I'm like, well, he's going to go from one plane to the other. It's going to happen. And so that's what he did, which was, and I'm not, look, he didn't, like, this wasn't CGI. This wasn't like, him sitting in an airplane and they put a giant fan on him. Like, he really did it. He really did it. Now, he probably had some kind of harness that was CGI'd out or that you couldn't see. Because otherwise, one slip and he's gone. Like, he's dead. It's not just,
there is no question that the stunts were the level after next. There were a couple things that they shot that I don't know how they did. Like the underwater stuff.
Pretty amazing. Yeah.
I mean, pretty unbelievable. Like that was probably my biggest problem with this whole film. I mean, you don't get the bends. You don't like have nitrogen in your whole body. The next thing you know, you're running. Like I mean, anyway, I would like to go through from the beginning to the end and tell you, like, let's just talk about some of these scenes and talk about how much I hated some of them.
Oh, let's save that for what you didn't like.
Okay. All right. So I don't know that I've got a ton more. I mean, I thought that, I liked the French girl. I like Palm. I like Mantis.
She was good.
I thought Mantis was really good.
One of the few, like, kind of funny. She brought some humor. Simon Pegg's usually got some of the funnier lines, but she was the funniest of all the.
I like Shea Wiggum a lot too.
Yeah,
I think he is. He always brings more to the thing.
Some gravitas.
Yeah, more to. I thought that Angela Bassett was fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, I thought she did a really good job. That's where it ends for me. I want to hear what did you love about it? What were things you loved?
I mean, I loved, the two scenes I loved the most were the treadmill fight. Was incredible.
Yes.
That was just a lot of fun. And takes that guy's face and puts it on the treadmill.
Yeah.
It's like, oh gosh.
Yeah.
So the treadmill fight I thought was super cool.
Yeah.
And then the underwater in the submarine, using the key to unlock and get the source code of the entity out. I love that whole sequence. What I loved about it was I also heard that they had a different music composer for this than what they have before. And so what I really loved about that scene was how quiet it was. It totally brought the anxiety,
the claustrophobia,
the anxiousness of, he's in this tube basically, and it's turning, like it continued to roll on the ocean floor several times as he was in it,
in a thing of nukes, basically,
with all these missiles, like around him. So I thought that scene was super cool. And I'll kind of tip my hand a little bit to something I didn't like, which meant by the time it got to the airplane stunt at the end, which was amazing, super cool, like I was exhausted. Like I couldn't enjoy it because I was so like spent from everything leading up. Defusing, I think there were 2 bombs that had to be defused throughout the course of the film, and each time it was like, it was almost like an Avatar when the little one got handcuffed to the she's like, I'm handcuffed again, it's like they're defusing a bomb again, it's kind of but I did enjoy a couple of the connection points to the other films in the franchise. I like Bring Back Dunlow. I thought that was super cool. So if you don't,
great way to do it too.
Yeah,
like they tried.
Yeah,
they tried to do something they shouldn't have tried to do. They connected. They made too many connections. If they would have just done Dunlow or maybe whatever, but like even going back and being like, it's the thing that was in the thing that you didn't know was in the thing.
I love that. I thought that was great because my biggest complaint about Mission Impossible 3, the whole film, he's looking for something called the rabbit's foot. And this is classic J.J. Abrams, who directed that film. Like the whole movie, you're looking for the rabbit's foot, and he gets it, and it's the end of the show, and it's like, what is the rabbit's foot? And they never tell you. I mean, that's everything J.J. Abrams has ever done. He's like, you're going to be excited about this, but I'm never going to let you know what it is, right? So I thought it was actually kind of cool to say, well, what he was actually stealing was this code that became the entity. So I thought that was kind of a neat touch to say, actually, so here is what the rabbit's foot was all this time, and that it truly was something dangerous. And the bad guy in that movie was Philip Seymour Hoffman, who a lot of people think is the best villain in the whole franchise. Like it makes you understand why he would want that so much, because he could control the world with that source code to create this AI. So I didn't like that Shea Wiggum's character. Gosh, I can't remember that the role he played, but
it doesn't matter. He effectively is the CIA agent or whatever that's chasing after
hunting him down.
He hunts Ethan Hunt for 2 movies,
right?
And he turns out to be
Jim Phelps' son. Jim Phelps was John Voight's character, who was Ethan's mentor in the first movie, who turns on him and becomes the villain in the first. Spoiler alert for Mission Impossible 1996.
If you haven't seen it in 29 years, you're not gonna.
If you hadn't seen it by now and you're listening to this podcast, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's a great question.
We're glad you're here, but come on. So anyway, he was the villain in the first movie, and it turns out that he is his son. And they had, there's this sort of tension between the two because, he's maybe kind of, reclaimed the name. It's going to drive me bananas what his name was. Where is it? Briggs. He's one name. Briggs. He's Bono, Madonna. It's Briggs. One name. So anyway, I did not like that at all. I didn't like that they felt like they had to build a tension with the president if she was going to, blow up all the other nations. That was one of the plot points, as the entity was taking over the nuclear arsenal of all these other, weapons for all these other, countries, China, India, anywhere else that had nukes except for us. The entity had control of it. And so, all of her staff was like, blow everybody else up before they blow us up, before the entity presses the button. And so to give her more gravitas, they introduced the fact that she has a son. It's like, oh, well, that makes me feel a whole lot different because she's got a child. Like everyone's got a child. You know what I mean? Like that was it was unnecessary.
Okay.
Take it,
Yeah.
And then they show him at the end. They have they reunite at the end. So I just thought that was kind of dumb. So the 2 main ones that I really liked were bringing back Dunlow, the guy from the vault in the first one. And I thought the rabbit's foot thing was cool. So, I mean, I'm with you. I thought it was, like I said in my review, the fun wasn't there.
The jokes weren't even funny.
Jokes weren't there. And one of the other things about all the other Mission Impossible movies was locations, whether it's, climbing the tallest building in the world in Dubai or wherever it is. Or, they're doing a car chase in Rome, or he's blowing up, the Kremlin's blowing up and he's actually there in Russia and Moscow, like there's all these on locations. So apart from some London at the beginning and end, and then this, the airplane stunt was in South Africa, everything else was filmed in a set. It seems like you probably could go back and like, it's probably all in Pinewood Studios in London, everything else was in a set, including the amazing underwater stuff, which was probably in some type of, James Cameron, aquarium that he's built somewhere. But, so it was like, that was another part of the charm of these films, is like, you're going to get to go to cool places and see cool things, as he's racing around town, or he's climbing a building, or he's jumping off roofs or something cool, and there was none of that, the charm, the fun. A lot of that wasn't there. And so it was a disappointing conclusion to the series. And in some ways, this is really, really harsh, but I'm going to say it anyways. It's the rich man Star Wars Episode 9. Like, you talk about the poor man, something like it's worse than the other thing. Like, it's better than Star Wars 9, but it suffers from the same problems. It's like, it's trying to bring everything together, and it doesn't really succeed in doing that, And it draws some connections and some things that you didn't really want.
But I mean, at least with Star Wars, though, like, that's kind of the whole thing. It's like, you didn't know this and you didn't know that, and it's all coming together. I mean, the big reveal that Darth Vader is his father, like that's all like this part of Star Wars was it's part of the DNA. And I just don't think Mission Impossible was ever really set up that way. And so, because it's like they tried to do something they shouldn't have done, I would say somebody needed to tell Tom Cruise no.
Yeah.
That's probably what really would have made if they would have let me edit this film, that film would have gone from 2 hours and 40 minutes to 2:10, and it would have been crisp and it'd have been okay. Like, I could have fixed some things. Like, for one, you know how we are right now? Like this. Let's just do this. Let's do this for like 30 seconds.
Yeah. Great podcasting here.
Like, how many times did they do that?
A lot.
Here, hand me that right there. Here's the other thing they did a lot in the film.
Yeah. Looking at
like, they didn't just, it wasn't just like somebody like I kept thinking the whole time, this crucifix looking key that the whole world had been after, they're like standing outside, and like some military nobody's got the thing and hands it to him, and he just looks at it like he's out in the open looking at it. And I kept thinking, this would be the perfect time for somebody to put a 50 cal bullet straight through his head and like everything to go sideways, and somebody come grab it and the movie's over. Like it was just like the thing that they spent so much time fighting the movie before. They climbed up a tree. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yet in this one, it was just like, look at this. Yeah. Here it is.
I got it. Yeah. And then it turns out the Russians had a copy the whole time. So that's courtesy of my sister, Wendy McGuire. She and I were talking about this. And the other thing she said is,
well, they showed us that at the beginning. There were two people that had the keys, and it was so inconsequential.
Well, they fit together. It was two pieces of one key. But the other thing she said, which was great, and they do this in every movie, but this was the one that kind of got me the most, whereas like not Mission Impossible, but Conversation Impossible.
Oh my gosh.
They're always completing each other's sentences, and nobody's talking over anyone else, and everyone knows exactly where the thing's going, so the next guy can come in and say his thing. And
Okay. Let's just start at the beginning and let's just talk about things we hate. Can we go there now at least?
We're there. Okay. We've been doing it.
The beginning of the film, it was a 10-minute montage of watching Tom Cruise either get blown up or run and all the things. And I'm just like, this is too much exposition. This is too whatever. And so then you finally get to the point where Simon Pegg and Ving Rhames and Tom are in a room talking, and these people have been in so many movies. There should be so much camaraderie and so much whatever, and it was just dead. And the editing was dead, and like the jokes were dead, and like Ving's got a hospital bed, and
you don't
even
know
oxygen.
Why. They never explain why. Yeah.
Okay.
Clearly, yeah, he was sick or he was dying.
But like, did they explain that?
They didn't.
Okay.
No, they didn't. So yeah, that was something that got edited out. Of the things that got edited out, that's the one that's like, yeah. And so that, we haven't even mentioned the antagonist in this film.
I'm ready.
Apart from the
Just
AI.
For Men? Talking about Just for Men?
Yeah, I'm talking about.
I understand how ironic I am talking about the Just for Men guy. I understand that. But I'm just telling you, like, he could literally be taken out of the film.
Yeah,
it wouldn't matter.
It was so bad. Yeah, and he's the one leaving bombs everywhere. He's the one that, you know. Gabriel's his name.
Like $1 billion looking bombs, like out of nowhere. It's just like he like it's like a David Copperfield trick. Or he like pulls he pulls it off, and it's like this thing. And like, okay, everybody in Mission Impossible knows how to pull apart a bomb,
right?
And everybody's a pilot. Everybody in that film is a pilot. Like at one point, the Inuit wife of Dunlow is flying the plane, and at one point she just turns around and she's just looking at him talking. Yeah. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe it. That was the second funniest part of the whole movie for him. I mean, like she's like and she just goes. just checking in on the conversation.
I'm with you.
And then Briggs's partner flips on Briggs, and he's now part of the Mission Impossible team.
Right, Degas.
Degas.
What's his name? Degas.
So Degas, I don't really know why he was there.
Yeah.
And like, how do we know that he knows how to fly planes? And how is he flying the plane?
Somehow he's flying it though. He knew.
And that was the third biggest thing that bothered me. We'll go through that. I'll make a third biggest thing that bothered me.
They at least paid some homage to, in the first movie. He was like, what if Ethan's right? What if he's doing this, you know, for the right reasons? He's not out there going rogue or whatever. So at least they tipped the hat that he was gonna, you know, that he.
That's fine.
You know, I didn't mention this. I did like sort of the motley crew element of the team. You had Paris, who was Palm Clement.
Yeah.
You had Degas, who came from, you know, the CIA. You know, had the pickpocket, Haley Atwell, Grace,
which I want to talk about. I don't know how to delicately talk about this, but like it hit me while I was watching it. I was like, just about every love interest that he's had in a film in the last 20 years that's not Nicole Kidman has been a Mimi Rogers like ripoff.
Did you know? Thanks to Jimmy Fallon's Tonight Show, she was 8 months pregnant when she filmed a lot of that movie. So that's why, if you notice, a lot of her framing shots are just
okay. That is going to be the next thing that bothered me so much. Like the framing and the editing towards the beginning of this film literally were horrible and made no sense to me. There was a fight scene where we just watched her face, and like she was horrified, and there was a cleaver in a dude, which we'd never really seen him do anything like that. And they were like, "Ha ha, come on, we got to go. I'm glad you're okay."
Right?
Like it didn't. It literally made no sense.
That was the scene where she was 8 months pregnant. That fight scene. So that's why, yeah, it's all you saw was her face, because she had a gigantic womb, I'm sure, in that moment. So yeah, that was rough. That was weird.
It was bad.
It was bad. So I was thinking about this. If it were me, and no one's ever going to ask us to do this, or me, they might one day. Who knows? Do you remember? I believe it was the Two Towers, the Lord of the Rings Two Towers. It started off with the backstory of Gollum in the boat with his friend, and they find the ring, and he kills his friend for the ring, and it shows like, so it told you everything you needed to know about.
Andor did that perfectly too.
How he
Andor season 2 did that perfectly as well.
Yeah, so they showed some like so. I think this film should have opened, instead of all that exposition of Ethan Hunt's done this and that.
Yeah,
it should have opened with the backstory of Gabriel and Ethan.
Yeah,
they never tell us how they know one another. We just know that they had a past. We just know that Gabriel killed his love interest, who was unnamed. I think her name might have been Maria. They said her name. We don't know who she was. We know that Ethan was some type of criminal, and the IMF said, you have a choice. You can join the IMF because you have all these skills and talents, and we can use you as a covert operative, or you can go to jail. He was given the choice, as they call it, which that was an evolving mythology. It seemed like a on the up entity of the government in the early films. By the end, it's like, what's these thieves? Is this Suicide Squad, basically? That they, these thieves and criminals that can do cool stuff. So they become this impossible mission for us.
Was never known by the president, and then all of a sudden, they're buddies.
Right. Yeah. Well, they have backstory, and that's 6. That's Fallout.
Anyway,
all I'd say,
it was bad.
It was really bad. I was really frustrated because that was one of the things I was interested in, because I was like, I want to know Gabriel's backstory. I want to know how he knows Ethan. Why'd he kill Maria? Why'd he kill his girl?
And some of it, when you get to 8 films, they've Tom Cruise has been tied up how many different ways? And how many different ways did he get out? Like,
always,
I at least thought the cyanide thing was interesting to an extent. Like, it was something I hadn't.
He had a dune tooth.
Yeah, it wasn't quite something that I'd seen.
That was fun. Yeah, that was a good touch.
So the next bad thing that I didn't like, I don't know if this is right sequentially, but Hannah Waddington,
very weird,
had an American accent.
Very strange.
And it sounded like she was Agent Smith from The Matrix. Like if you go back and listen to that film, like, I'm planning on ruining things for you when you go back and watch it a second time. I want you to think about Mr. Anderson, like the way that she spoke, and it was so, like, we've never heard her speak an English accent, and so when she did it, it was jarring, like take you out of the movie jarring.
Well, speaking of take you out of the movie jarring, I love him dearly, but I cannot take Nick Offerman seriously.
So
Ron Swanson.
Ron Swanson is the second thing that I hated the most about the film.
Mustacheless Ron Swanson.
He didn't bother me, but like, this was his death scene. Are you ready?
Big double chin hanging out.
Hold on, do it again.
Do it again.
And it was almost like you expected to go. He's like, you expected to go.
Yeah,
it was bad. Like, it was really bad.
Yeah, I didn't like
give me your firearms, sir. Like,
pretty good.
Nobody loves Ron Swanson more than me.
That's a good Ron Swanson.
Yeah. He is phenomenal, and he is good in The Last of Us. Like, his character in that, like, who he plays, like, you can take him a little more seriously. But like, and I've seen him in other movies where he didn't bother me as much, but like, this did not work. I don't know why they did it. I don't know why he was in it, and it didn't work.
I agree. Totally.
Hannah Waddington, don't know why she did it. It didn't work.
Yeah. I think it was like, let's play spin the wheel on who we think would be fun to put in this movie, so that, on a movie poster, like, Hannah Waddington's in this. Oh, that's cool. Oh, Nick Offerman's in this. That's cool. I think I want to go see it. I like those people. I like the soccer show. Gosh, Ted Lasso. I like Ted Lasso. She's in that. That's great. I like Parks and Rec. He's in that. That's great. Let's go see it because of these things. They're bit parts. They're small characters, but they're in it.
Yeah. Now, I don't know his name, but the submarine captain.
Yeah, I don't know who that was either. Yeah.
I liked him.
He was cool. Yeah.
Submarine stuff was well done.
Submarine stuff was probably the best part of the whole movie, I think. Because that's where the treadmill fight was.
With the exception of effectively this impossible scenario of him saving the day. Like, it was all these impossible things that had to be within so many seconds of them all happening. Yeah. And he just jumps out. He doesn't tell anybody. He just jumps out of a plane. And what do you know? The frogmen are like,
they're there.
They're there. Yeah. Like in the ocean. Like, the ocean, Kyle. Right. I lost a pair of sunglasses within 5 feet of myself one time, like right on the water, and it was gone.
Never found them again.
Gone. Yeah. I flipped my boat one time in the ocean. I had a fishing pole, 7 feet long, shiny green. Gone.
Yeah, I know it. Well, and then too, my sister said this as well. I'll give her credit for this. He gets the source code. Say the word. It's the source code for the entity in the submarine. He can't fit out of the torpedo chute, so he's got to tear his wetsuit off.
Yeah, he would be. He'd been dead right there
because it was sub-zero.
Yeah, he'd have died.
And he swims out of the torpedo chute, and he takes his mask off, and he swims from the bottom of the ocean to the top of the ocean.
Yes.
So yeah, it was,
and
to the exact spot where Grace could find him and chainsaw him out and put him in a hyperbolic chamber to resuscitate him.
But in the hyperbolic, so she was the one that resuscitated. The next thing you know, we're in a love scene,
sort of,
where they're he was getting the bends, there's no reason. I mean, that movie should have been over. Like, he should have just been like, here it is, and gone to the barometric chamber, and he's still in the ICU right now, just recovering. He's gonna make it. He may lose some toes. You know what I mean? But instead, he's running again.
He's flying a plane.
He's flying a plane.
15 minutes later, yeah.
It just was it literally. Superhero movies, they have a way and a logic where you can go out. They're doing this because they have this special gift.
Right.
This is where this movie failed, and it was like they pushed the envelope so far that, and they had to, because it was like eight movies. So what else are you going to do? But they pushed it so far that it just went beyond the point of unbelievableness. We grew up as children of the '80s, where people did crazy things in movies all the time. They killed hundreds of people, one person. Nobody ever got hurt. But this was just. it was 3 bridges too far from me. Like I just couldn't, like just watching him swim out of the water with no suit on,
and no mask.
I was done. And by the time we got to planes, it wasn't that it wasn't cool. It wasn't that I was exhausted. I just was over it. It was so much. It became comical. Like it was like, I just wanted to go, somebody tell this man no. Just tell him no.
Well, the reason no one could tell him no, this is the first time I noticed this, and someone can fact check me, but I think this was also the first one that it was a Tom Cruise production. This movie was, I think, financed, produced, everything by Tom Cruise. It was a Tom Cruise production. So
I think we learned from writing our book. It doesn't need to be just one person.
Yeah,
one person. You need and other people to show you things that maybe you think in the time you're going to fight for are so important,
right?
And they're not.
We needed an editor too, so he probably needed an editor. But here's the thing: we can go back, you can rewind this podcast to 30 minutes ago when I'm talking about how much I love Tom Cruise. I love him, but I reached my maximum, my peak of no one can save us but Ethan Hunt. Because it's a proxy. The whole thing is what he's trying to say and do is, no one can save the film industry, the movie theater going experience, but Tom Cruise. That's all that's being said here. That's being communicated.
Yeah, and he kind of accidentally did it.
Well, with Top Gun,
he accidentally did it.
Coming out of COVID, the pandemic. That movie made $700 million domestically. People were like, I want to go see a movie again. And just so happened that the movie's fantastic.
It's fantastic.
Great. It's really good.
It's fantastic. So, let's think about this for a second. Was the story good?
Sure.
This story was
not good at all.
They tried to salvage old bad stories and they made a worse story.
Yeah. But you're right. I think that's the final analysis for me, that I hadn't really put it together yet, but someone needed to tell him no.
How many MacGuffins were in this film?
I mean, I didn't feel it was Mission MacGuffin as much.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's start with the bomb. It needed to be diffused.
But that's not a MacGuffin.
No, that's just it needed to be diffused, but they didn't explain to us why. He could diffuse it a little bit so that it wouldn't blow up everything, just him, basically. Okay.
That's Luther. He was the one that died in the first 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Luther finally bit the dust. R.I.P. Luther. We love you.
Yeah.
We'll miss you.
Out. Then you've got the crucifix key. Then you've got the hard drive that basically looks like an 80s hard drive. Then you've got
source code.
Then you've got the new cube that glows
that it got put into.
Basically a thing that was
the Phantom Zone.
It's never been made
Luther
before.
Created the Phantom
Luther
Zone.
created something that never existed and can't exist, and it's a prison cell. Phantom Zone, Superman, right?
For the
entity, because you can't kill it,
right? The entity.
That's the other thing. Well, we can get into that, the ending, but I haven't got to my number one, but we kind of talked about it, but I just hated all the MacGuffins. I hated the movie ended with basically them having a Pulp Fiction moment where he's looking at a glowing suitcase, a mini little glowing suitcase, and I'm just like, what? And
to me, it was like Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull. It's like that was the perfect moment to put the hat on Shia LaBeouf, and say, sayonara, I'm out. Harrison Ford is done playing Indiana Jones. Well, when this movie ended, basically it was like, hey, we told you this was the final reckoning, but you know what? In 10 years, if we want to do another one, we've got a team here and we can do it again. And that's all it was they just left the door open.
Everybody just kind of
walked away.
They looked at each other for a minute, which is it was a lot of looking, and then it really not meaning anything.
Is Grace his girl or not? Or is I think Ethan's kind of asexual at this point. It's just kind of like, you should probably,
I really like Haley Atwell.
She's fantastic.
She's a great actor.
Amazing.
I didn't think. I feel like she was trying too hard. Maybe it explains a lot with the pregnancy because there was a lot of face acting. There was a lot of unnatural excitement for her that I was like, what is happening?
The story did not service her well, I don't think.
No.
Well, what's number one? Let's hear your number one. I know you said we kind of
going from him jumping out of a plane, frogmen catching him, to him then deep diving, basically he trained on a treadmill with oxygen or something, and like that made him prepared to be able to do this thing in the suit that he had never been in. Didn't understand the controls. Like the second he got in it, he's just moving things around on his thing, and he's like got it all figured out. He's just propelling around, and like I mean, like, have you tried VR? Like you put on a VR thing, and you don't have, like there's a little bit of a learning curve, and so like so you go to that to like him making it into the submarine. Him doing all the thing and be like, oh, torpedo. And then he's like, he like knows where to go find a thing to unlock a thing to get out the torpedo hatch. And all the while this thing's rolling. And then he gets out wearing no suit, and he doesn't die within 10 seconds because he's in sub freezing thing, only to pop back out to be up against the ice, which was a cool shot. But then next thing you know, he's in the
she saves him.
He's in the
chamber.
Out of the
ice, yeah.
He's in the chamber to he's better to they're now flying on a plane that's got an Inuit, pilot that probably, as far as we know, never been off the island. And it's like what that's that scenario right there alone for me was like, nope.
Yeah.
Like we're done.
Too far. Yeah.
Like it didn't even matter that we had Red Baron, Snoopy plane stuff going on at the end. Like, I don't know. I think some of the charm for me, maybe when I was younger, maybe because it was 96, technology was at a place where things were advancing and it was really amazing.
Yeah.
AI was the thing that they tackled a little bit before a lot of people started talking about AI, but it just wasn't a good bag.
Yeah.
I don't understand how all the world's lights turned off. Did the AI turn the whole world off?
Yeah, because it had infiltrated everything, and to suck it out of the system.
But the steps were that the AI was going to turn off everything, and then the AI was going to shoot nukes off and blow it up.
Right.
And the way that they solved it was Haley Atwell was just really quick.
A quick hand of snip one thing and turn the key or the other, and you do it all perfectly.
When she snipped,
what was she? The bomb.
She snipped to do what?
To diffuse the entity going out into everything and controlling.
So the
everything.
entity came into the glow. She snipped it, and then she pulled it before the entity could push the cyber button.
Get out. Yeah, I got stuck in there. Yeah, I got stuck in the glowy box. Yeah, the jump drive.
So my daughter Hope showed me a video, and it was these two guys that were watching something, and then they tried to decide which was faster, sound or light. And he's holding up phone and he's trying to push the flashlight on them at the same time to see which one's faster. And it's these two guys just doing it. And I feel like that's what we just did. Like us trying to explain how they solved this glowy thing, like going into a glowy thing, and like the whole world shutting down, and then the whole world just coming back up.
Yeah, it came right back. Yeah. No, I mean, I'm totally with you. It was bad. I have a lot of forgiveness for this movie because truthfully, it's only the second kind of stinker of all of them. And even still, it's better than most. It's better than most movies that I watch.
I'm going to pull A Time to Kill out right now for this, and I'm going to ask you this question. Mm-hmm. Like, if this were another movie that wasn't
Tom Cruise,
you would be eviscerating it.
If it was a standalone, if it was all by itself. Now, if there were 7 movies that came before that led me to this point with other casts, other people, I probably would be as forgiving.
I don't know.
I don't know. You may be right.
You may be right. Like Dead Reckoning was good. Like it was like interesting. Like those couple of scenes that are in there, like the train stuff. Even.
Train was fantastic.
So cool.
Yeah.
I just gave up on like. I would like to set a timer. Next time you go, bring a stopwatch. And the second he starts hanging from a plane, I want you to time the entire amount of time he's hanging from a plane.
Yeah, it's a long time. It's a long time. Someone should have told him no. You nailed it. Someone should have told him no. That might be the caption of a reel. Someone should have told him no.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. Well, let's wrap this up, man. We've been doing this for a while. We've probably beat the horse. It's sufficiently dead.
There were things about it I enjoyed.
Sure. Yeah.
And I don't regret going to a movie with you.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was fun to sit there with your boys. I listened to Livingston on the way home.
Livingston, yeah. That's my son Noah. That's his favorite artist. Yeah. He saw him in concert a couple of weeks ago here in Nashville. So it was fun. It was fun to do it together. I'm in some ways, I hope that they make another one just to kind of redeem that. But it's almost like, where do you go from here?
What do you call it? The final?
Yeah, the final. Well, it's like
final mission.
they're doing another Shrek. Shrek 4 was what? Shrek 4 Forever or something. I don't remember what it was. Shrek Forever. So, I mean, they're doing it all the time now. They're coming back from, this is the last one. No, wink, wink. It really wasn't. You know, they're really not doing the last one. So it's possible they may do another one. I have heard that they are going to do a starting next year, not this year, but next year, a stunt Academy Award. And so, you know, they might do another Mission Impossible just so Tom Cruise can finally get an Academy Award for best stunt.
I just listened to a podcast where they talked about that with David Leitch.
The director?
Well, he's a director, but he's not the same person.
Oh, okay.
This is the guy who did Fall Guy, and he did Deadpool 2, and he did.
I got you.
He was a stunt man early, and he did. He directed he co-directed the John Wick film. That was where he started becoming a director, and like he was in all the Matrix, did all the Matrix stunts with Keanu and all that, and he helped got it to exist. So
cool.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. Well, it's been great, Jay. Thank you for coming all the way to my house, sitting by this roaring fire as we have discussed this movie that neither of us liked a whole lot, sadly. But it's been fun doing a podcast with you.
I'm relieved that you admitted some things about it that weren't good, because I was really worried that you were about to sit here and shine for 20 minutes about all the pieces that I didn't understand that connected and all these things. And so I think we're going to continue to be friends. I think we survived it.
I definitely wanted to make sure you understood that, hey, that's Dunlow. That's the guy from the first movie. I was like, you know who that is, right? I was really concerned. That you knew who that was. All right, we've never done it this way, Jay. Do you know how to wrap us up? Do you know how to play the music, to play us out?
Oh yeah, I can do that. But I mean, like, is there anything that you learned?
Oh man, totally forgot about that. Man, I learned that when you have had enough, when you're ready to get out, man, you look at your watch a lot. Dude.
It's not fair.
You may be getting messages from your girls. I don't know, but you were 1,700 times as that movie dragged on to the
end. It was too loud to go to sleep. I couldn't go to sleep. It was too loud to go to sleep.
Jay, what'd you learn?
I am not surprised by this, but I am encouraged. It may be something I maybe knew, but like, I'm glad to have it reaffirmed tonight. And that is like, you're going to be fair, like about stuff when it comes. If it's still something you love, you're not going to just let it slide.
Oh yeah.
So thank you for that.
Well,
I appreciate that.
It's like our old professor, Calvin Miller. If you really loved your paper, it was covered in red and you still get an A. You're like, how did I get an A on this thing? Because he liked your paper. He was tearing it up because like, these little things you can do to make it so much better if you just do this, but you still get an A because I liked your paper. So that's the way I am with the things I love. I tear it up because I want it to be good.
How many lightning bolts would you give it?
Well, that's good call. Good call. Gosh, I'd say 2.5 lightning bolts. 2.5 lightning bolts
out of
5.
Not out of 10. Like just
out of 5.
Just
yeah.
2.5 out of 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because it's like pizza. You know, you eat pizza that's not great, but it's still okay. It's pizza.
It's pizza.
You know, that's what Mission Impossible films are for me. Even 2. I didn't do that. I was going to go through and tell you my rankings, but you know, we've belabored this long enough. It's the second worst behind 2. 2 is the worst, and then this is the second.
2
worst.
did not hold up.
2 did not hold up. Yeah. You know, and for me, the top 2 are Fallout and the original Mission Impossible. Those are the 2 best. Fallout was 6, and Mission Impossible, the original. Those are the 2 best ones in the franchise, if you ask me.
Okay, all right. I think I'd give it like 1.87.
Wow,
lightning bolts. I can't give it 2.
Hey, that's your prerogative.
Yeah,
it's your prerogative.
Like the stunts were cool.
Yeah,
that's why it gets that.
The story was
and Simon Pegg was good.
He tried his hardest.
I don't understand why they did that to Ving. Like, I don't get it.
Man. I do think that physically Ving Rhames as an actor can't do a whole lot. He didn't have a whole lot. I think he's older man. He can't move around much. Because even in the past few films, he's been pretty stationary.
Yeah, it's fair.
You know, he's sitting in a chair or he's defusing a bomb. You know, he hadn't run in several films.
Well, that's fine. I don't think anybody want us running either. So, all right, man. Well, I've had a great time. Thanks for allowing me in your fireplace in the house, and I'll see you. Was that even on screen?
It's really, it's like Wonder Twins Connect.
All right, you do. Okay, I'll do it.
Yes.
Okay.
There it is.
All right, man. Let's roll some music. You can do some fake dancing. Hold on.